All right. Hola, 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 mi gente.
Welcome to Daily Invocation. And today we wanted to invoke a deeper, specific level of boundaries. Yesterday, we started a great conversation about boundaries on our spiritual path. And today we wanted to look at one specific point of boundaries.
Words, language.
Languaging. So Krunadare and I were just talking about how language can structure reality. Doesn't have to, but wow, it really can. Think of all the times, I'm so tired. I hate moving. These may be facts, but wow, how our boundaries can shift if we say, ooh, I'm embracing more energy. Or, wow, I get to be in a new living situation. It may sound trite, but with practice becomes very, very powerful for shaping our reality. So that's a starting level of languaging. That's like a first little bit, a possibility. Now, for the big whammy, how we communicate to each other, the boundaries we have with languaging whilst relating. This is where things get interesting. For example, this morning for Krunadara and I, right before daily invocation.
I don't know what you wanted to say about that.
Well, we talked about poopiness.
Mm-hmm.
And this word poopiness came up. There was this big blood moon last week, or what was a blood moon, right?
It was all kinds of things.
All kinds of things. And the world has all kinds of things going on right now, you know, a little bit more so than normal. There is poopiness around. Lots of people are having a hard time relating right now, which is a type of poopiness. So this morning, Grenadier and I both had wonderful meditations, and we were really awesome. And then we were talking, and this word poopiness came up for one of us. And I think Grenadier first put up a boundary and said, no, I'm not taking on poopiness. And that was awesome.
So basically, what we're trying to get at, I don't know if that made any sense to you all, but what we're trying to get at is that labels, right? So sometimes labels can be helpful in understanding some parts of our personality, our psyche, kind of help us process through certain ways of being, maybe. And then there's a certain point where labels aren't helpful anymore, and we might be too caught up in identifying to those labels, right? And so if I say to Prasad, you're poopy, well, I don't know that that is his reality. That may not be his experience at all. He might just be quiet because something's on his mind, or like he was saying, he just got out of meditation, etc. That's just my interpretation. Sometimes it could be a projection. If I'm feeling a certain way and I say to someone, oh, you must be really tired, to go with some of those excuses. Well, maybe I'm the one that's tired and I can't go there for what I don't want to feel tired, so I'm putting it on someone else. And then back to the labels, we were talking last night also about and this is really tricky, okay, so bear with us, but mental health related labels, right? Or even, I always like to go with the example of introvert, extrovert. I love and hate that question. And it came up in a family gathering just before we came to Zihuatanejo when we were in Mexico City. And we were asking each other, are you an introvert or an extrovert? And I understand that we want to understand each other, right? Psychologically speaking, when we meet a stranger, our mind is trying to put and fit that person into these categories to make us feel safe. Oh, is this familiar? They have a beard. I had a friend who had a beard and he was awesome. So this guy must be awesome, on and on and on. So with the introvert extrovert piece or any other of these labels, it was helpful to me at some point to find out what an introvert was so that I could feel validated in my experience. I grew up in a family of big extroverts, my dad and my sister. And so I felt out of place. So it was helpful then. But eventually I had to let go of the label because it almost became an excuse. Oh, I'm an introvert, so I'm staying in tonight. Or however many other ways it shows up, it can start to cause more harm than good.
Great example. So this is so important with the languaging and boundaries, and like Renadero was saying, the identification. Our goal is to advance spiritually. One component of that often is dropping identifications or skillfully, fully looking at them and examining if that's still the case. And it can change. The one thing that came up while she was speaking, which I thought about, which is really amazing, is safety. We talk about safety a lot, and that's a fluid thing, just like introversion, extroversion. I can feel really safe right now, and maybe in an hour I'm unsafe. Mm-hmm. Okay, it changes.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get locked into any patterns, or I can be unsafe out in a specific situation. I move 10 feet or 10 minutes goes by. It's better. Looking at these languaging identifications from the viewpoint of languaging and how we can choose our words, and therefore, to a degree, choose our experience. Oh, today, I want to choose more spirituality. I want to choose healing, whatever you want to choose.
Or a feeling, right? Like, oh, I feel good in this moment. The rest of my day, I'd like the rest of my day to feel this good. Now, that's not going to negate if you face a challenge or a difficult emotion or moment that you don't deal with that and just bypass it and go back to the good feelings. So a lot of what we say, sometimes I struggle with our languaging on our channel because I don't want things to be taken out of context because of the fluidity, because we are human beings and we are constantly evolving in every moment, in every second. We try to be very mindful of being clear that this is possible, that these are our experiences, and yet it can change, it does evolve, and it doesn't apply to every single situation.
So in our daily invocation today, maybe invoking some languaging you can take with you today. Create the day, week, lifetime you would like. So we want to thank you all for joining us today in Daily Invocation Souls Check-In, checking in on this wonderful and subtle, and sometimes not subtle, boundaries with languaging. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love.